Welcome to Mining Now, everyone. This is the start of a series of special episodes for Mining Now because it'll be our first episodes filmed from an event in South Africa. We are filming from Electra Mining in Johannesburg. It's going to be we're going to be covering some very interesting companies over the next several days. All companies that are either based in South Africa or operating there. So our first guest is going to be Pump and Abrasion Technologies. They are an OEM of slurry pumps, and we're going to be covering their units. It's an old technology that they've done some upgrades on, so some very technical and interesting stuff we're going to cover. We have Sean Donnelly. He is the general manager of Middle East and Africa. Slurry pump specialist. Wow, I'm filming this at 12:30 in the morning, so I might have a few stumbles here. And then James Pinier, he is the global product specialist at Pump and Abrasion Technologies. So, at a quick note, we're also going to this tour, this heavy industry tour, is sponsored by Savinaw Equipment. So, thank you to them for helping us get all around the world. Our next big event that you'll see us at is going to be November 2nd to 4th in Sydney, Australia. And in between that, we are also going September 18th to 21st. We're going to MIMO put on by CIM, and that's going to be in Sudbury, Canada, which is actually the event where we filmed our first Mining Now. So look out for us then. Okay, Sean, welcome to the show. Great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. It's good to be joining you today. Looking forward to a good chat.
Yeah, I am as well, and then we'll get James on in the second half of the interview. I haven't been to Electra. Our product manager, Dennis Patterson, is setting everything up over there. Could you just sort of give me a layout? What's the event like? I think it's the first time it's been on in a couple years because of everything that's obviously gone on in the world. So how are things going? Can you give us a bit of a setup there?
Yeah, it looks very good, Jared. Like you said, there's, I think, a lot of interest with it not having been held that recently. And yeah, the stands are looking good, packed with guys coming to have a look. So we're looking forward to a good 5 days. Yesterday was excellent start. So we're expecting a good turnout.
There's a lot of interest, obviously, in the mining sector in Africa, and obviously South Africa has a very strong sector already. Are you seeing, is it people from all over the world that you're seeing coming in?
Yeah, I think it's predominantly South African market, but we're certainly seeing people from around the world. So it's a good mix.
So Sean, can you give us a bit of that bird's eye view of the company, a little bit of where it got started, where its reach is now, just sort of the whole context of who Pump and Abrasion is?
Yeah, thanks, Jared. So we were founded in 2004. Then there was quite a shift of direction from the business in 2013 when our current shareholders took over. And we've really expanded our product range. In 2016, we became an OEM with our Curve S and C range, and just generally brought a lot of innovation. And we believe a lot to the market that's been quite stagnant for a long time. And we've expanded globally over the last few years. We've got offices in the eastern part of Australia, also in Perth, in Canada, as well as the USA, and of course, Middle East and Africa, where our main business is currently. Pumping system specialists, focusing on slurry pumps, dewatering pumps, submersible pumps, primarily in the mining industry. And from a services perspective, we support our customers with 24/7, 365 breakdown service, which is obviously critical to make sure that they're always running. We keep high stock levels to make sure that we can supply on those breakdowns and at other times. And we've got a big team of application engineers that'll go free to site. They'll do pump audits. They'll do stock audits for you, and as well as do problem solving on site. So we have a customer service team that's really geared up to try and make our customers' lives easier.
Momentum, the annual virtual Micromine conference, is coming up soon. This global event explores the technology, people, and initiatives that are changing the game across the industry and features educational sessions, interviews with industry leaders, and technology demos. Mining Now is excited to take part in the day's events and is even recording an exclusive panel interview for Momentum attendees. If you'd like to join, simply visit micromine.com and register. Screens are not a commodity. If you're replacing your screens yearly, then you should check out General Kinematics. GK screens are durable, running for multiple years without the need for replacement. General Kinematics STM Screen 2-mass vibratory screen offers the highest reliability in the industry with an average service life 5 times that of a conventional screen. GK's 2-mass technology is proven to drastically increase capacity, efficiency, and longevity when compared to brute force designs. GK's efficient screening technology will make you more profitable, while its increased durability will make you more dependable. Boost your screening power, not your cost. With General Kinematics STM Screen, improve your screening process today at gkmining.com. Okay, so let's give a special thank you to one of our longest sponsors of the show, Savona Equipment. And I'm actually going to hand it over to Jared so that he can give you a little bit more info on Savona Equipment.
Yeah, thank you. So I mean, people see them as sponsors, so they'll ask me, kind of who they are, what they are, and just trying to understand the scope of the company. So Savona Equipment is a mining supply company, and they're delivering on the whole equipment supply chain. So everything from the ore processing to underground mining, open pit. They're in hard rock and placer operations. And what they're doing is they're sourcing equipment from all over the world and then delivering it all over the world. Now, they are a Canadian company, so they're based there, but, let's say, they're selling entire ore processing plants. So there might be a plant down in Latin America, and there's a new mine that needs that plant in Africa or somewhere in the US. So they're facilitating that entire transactions. But they're also delivering, an individual conveyor or a concentrator or a pump package or just an electrical package. So it really is the whole gambit of the mining equipment supply chain.
I actually do have a question. I know you mentioned, they take care of the purchasing, the shipping worldwide. However, if you're looking for a particular mining equipment that they perhaps may not have on hand, can they actually facilitate that for you as well?
Yeah, that's a huge part of their business because, and it's if you went on to SavonaEquipment.com, I'm a shameless plug for them, but if you go onto that website, you'll see just this huge array of equipment. So it's easier to think maybe there's like random people just uploading equipment. It's not. They put that equipment on. They're also finding particular pieces of equipment for people from all over the world going to all over the world again. So yes, people, you can reach out to them and contact them, and then they will source that equipment and get it to you as well.
Oh, that's great then. Well, then you definitely have to check them out. If you're looking for mining equipment, visit them at savonaequipment.com, where you will find more equipment every day. Founded in 1989 in South Africa, the Bloemburton Engineering Group is a world leader in ventilation, refrigeration, and cooling systems for underground mines. BBE Consulting Canada, created in Greater Sudbury, Ontario, is part of the BBE Group of companies since 2016. Its services include mine ventilation and cooling system modeling, feasibility studies, detailed engineering, procurement and construction management, as well as site ventilation surveys, ventilation audits, and training mentoring for underground mines across all America. You can reach out to BBE Consulting Canada by visiting bbegroup.ca or writing to enquiries@bbegroup.ca. Also, watch out for BBE's upcoming episode on Mining Now. Introducing the SolarSet Fold. The new foldable frame solar system brings power to your residential and commercial property and can be shipped worldwide. Like all SolarSet products, the SolarSet Fold comes turnkey, pre-assembled, and is easily transported and installed. Learn more about SolarSet Fold and their full line of amazing solar systems at solarset.com.
Sean, how long have you been with the company?
Jared, I've been there just going on 3 years now.
So, and I was thinking when you were first kind of walking through it, there is competition in this space. There's some major brands globally that compete in this market, in the slurry pump market specifically. So, obviously, when you mention things like service, it's such a key part. So I'm going to ask this in sort of two parts. Is that I mean, the obvious one, why is it so important? But the second part is, how do you communicate that to customers as they're learning about the company, as they're considering you for their projects?
Yeah, so we don't really focus too much on what our competitors do, but for us, customer service is a critical part of who we are. It's in our DNA. If a slurry pump stands on a processing plant, the entire plant stands. And so we realize the importance of being there for our customers. We have a 24/7, 365 breakdown. We have an application engineer or a sales engineer on site any time of day or night. We understand the importance of making sure that a mine doesn't stop. And in terms of getting that message out there, obviously we've got our various platforms, we've got our sales team, but I think more than anything, we've hopefully built a reputation for providing good service and for being responsive. You know, Jared, I think we all know no company is perfect when it comes to customer service. Firstly, we set up systems to try our best to make sure that things run smoothly and that our customers also have a good customer experience. But where we really also focused on is where we do on the odd occasion drop the ball. We're highly responsive. We need to make sure that we resolve that. And a lot of the time that builds confidence in the clients. They understand that things go wrong, but they're waiting to see how you respond as a business and whether you really, you can walk the talk. And that's really how you get the message out, through experience. You can say what you like in your marketing material and your sales pitch, but if you're not there in the middle of the night to solve the problem, guys don't take you seriously. And so by living it, that's how we spread the word.
You know, I've done a lot of these interviews, and whenever a company sort of comes on, just say what you, that things do go wrong. I mean, we've had to redo episodes multiple times and had technical glitches, and I've said people's names wrong over and over in the same interview, and companies wrong, and it's I always am concerned when a company comes on and acts like they're perfect, because I think the audience, for one, sees through it very quickly, because things do go wrong, and and it is how you respond to it. And I'm curious, when if it's a large operating mine that you're trying to get after them as a new client, do a lot of them start off with one or two units with you and then sort of do that, or are companies taking on a full scale? And this is sort of a business development question as well. Over the years, how have you sort of gotten into the market and got in with some of these operators?
So we had a relatively established client base, obviously from the past, historically, as the new shareholders came into the business. But with the advent of the curved slurry pump, it was something revolutionary and new to the market.
Right.
And there wasn't that brand recognition initially. So it was a little bit of a tough journey to get that product into the market and to get the brand recognition and the confidence from the customers and a belief that what we said the product could do, from a total ownership cost saving and from a performance, from a sealing capacity, a power saving capacity, wear life ability, all of these good things that James will also talk about a bit later. We didn't have too many pumps installed. And so initially the way that we targeted the market was we'd go into mines, we'd tackle that problematic area. And it's still very much part of how we approach business today. Is we'd go and ask, where's your biggest problem in the mine? What pump is causing you the biggest issues? And then we'd do a little bit of a head-to-head trial, and we'd demonstrate through this trial methodology that we would undertake of setting parameters with the client, understanding what was important to them. Was it a sealing issue that they had? Was it a wear life issue that they had? And really understand their challenge, spec the right pump, put it in, support it with our engineers, and then let the results speak for themselves. And over time, as we started to build that reputation, and as the mining industry, as you know, is fairly transient in terms of guys can be at one company or one mine one day, and then the next day move. And as we developed that reputation, the momentum started to build. And Whereas now, yes, we still follow that approach. We'll enter on a trial basis. We'll go head to head. We'll have a few pumps on site. But now, as our reputation has grown and the momentum is built, we're starting to enter into the project market where we have the capacity as a business at all levels to really be able to enter that with the same approach as we have throughout the company. We've also opened up a global project office, and so we're supporting global project houses around the world now. And I believe in a really considered an expert way. Again, we can always do better, but we've learned a lot over the few years as we've really developed that project office. The advantage, obviously, of winning projects is that you have a much bigger installed base. So when you're going one and you're slowly working through that mine and you're building your pump population base there and across the group, with a greenfields project, you can come in from the get-go and the complete installed base can be yours. And we believe obviously that's best for the client, is to have the full range of product installed, and that will maximize the health and safety in the plant, and it'll maximize obviously those ownership cost savings.
It's an interesting kind of world that you're living in, because on one hand, if something goes wrong, it needs to be fixed right here, right now, and it's costing millions of dollars in a day. So there's that side of it, but then also you talked about a global. Sorry, what did you call it? A global
Projects
operating
office.
projects office.
Yeah.
With something like that set up, these mines that they might have two or three, maybe full-scale operating mines, but now they've got two or three other projects around the world that they're trying to get off the ground. That must be such a key component, because you might be building a relationship that's going to pay off. It might be 5 or 6 years. I mean, some mines take 10, 15 years to get off the ground. So you're really planting seeds in every project that you're involved with for something that, and they said, and it's a transient industry. Someone might be going over to a mine that's going online in 2 years. So everything's sort of interconnected in that way.
Yeah, that's right. We're involved in that pre-feasibility stage all the way through to installation on site, with our team going there and making sure that things run smoothly, and that things can start on time, that the product works, that it's the right product for the application, and that things can get completed timelessly. So yeah, all the way through the project in terms of speccing the product, making sure the duties on the pumps are specced correctly for the duties that are required, and we provide technical assistance on the materials, and obviously we've gathered a lot of information globally, having operated in Australia, US, and Canada as well, dealing with various customers, various project houses, understanding their different needs, and then in terms of that technical offering, making sure that if you make a mistake on that side of things, again, it creates significant challenges and problems. So we make sure with a very strong technical team that we go in with the right product right from the get-go.
That global projects office, that must be a key element when you're dealing with these large-scale mining operators with operations all over the world. Them just hearing that you've got that set up must be an important factor, when, especially on these large-scale, you're trying to put 50 pumps into their operation. I mean, they must kind of almost need to hear that in some ways.
Absolutely. They need to understand that they're dealing with guys that can support them through that entire process.
Yeah.
As I said, it starts at pre-feasibility, but when our pumps are installed, we're going to have guys on site there on a daily basis when the commissioning happens, and we're going to have guys on site on permanently going forward. Making sure that all the problems are solved, that the stock levels in the stores are right. So we really become an we've become an integral part of that customer's business, and we really do like to see it that way, that we form a partnership, and that they start to see us as one of their own, people that they can rely on, can make their lives easier. That they realize that their staff are not the only people that can solve their problems and be there to serve them, but they can rely on Pump and Abrasion Technologies to be responsive.
Before we bring James on, I wanted to ask just about building the team because I would imagine you're heavily involved in that side of it. How do you, again, very simple question, but how do you build a team for sort of this global approach, but you're also servicing on a local level? Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Our pumps are great, but I think our people are even better. And that really, I think, is what separates us from a lot of the other players in the market. We've got incredibly passionate, motivated individuals right throughout the company, whether it be on the R&D and the innovation side, whether it be on the operation side, the guys that need to build the pumps, deliver on time, the procurement side of the business. We really have people that will do whatever it takes. When a new employee starts, they get a little coffee mug and it's written on there, we do whatever it takes. And we really do try and make that part of our philosophy. I can honestly say I've never worked in my career with such a dedicated, passionate group of people who really want to make a difference in the lives of our customers. It's part of our ethos. And as a relatively new company in terms of the market as a whole, and relatively small compared to them, we really try and retain that entrepreneurial spirit. And I think any entrepreneur who's grown a business, anyone who's been in an entrepreneurial business knows that you need to move quickly. Customer service and responsiveness is critical to making that happen. You can't rest on your laurels because you are competing with the big dogs out there. And so that ethos of that entrepreneurial responsive business, we're very, very conscious to make sure that it stays part of our DNA into the future as we grow and as we continue to expand our global footprint.
Sean, before we switch over to James, I kind of wanted just a quick. You've got, and I'll bring it up on the screen here too. This sort of 6 pillars that we've sort of went through, probably all of them except the first one, which was the problem-solving part, and that's going to sort of dovetail into what James is going to cover. So I wanted to ask you, as a company, you've got this product line. How do you sort of assess and problem solve on what products need to be developed? It's historically, it's not I don't think it's known as slurry pumps being the innovative leader, in the last 60 years. So how have you sort of chosen where to tackle and be innovative within the industry? Based on customer feedback or sort of based on your own assessment? Just sort of give us some context to that.
I think the best way that we've seen to understand what products our customers need is to stay close to them. Stay close to the guys that are using the product, whether it be the fitter who has challenges on site and wants it to be easier. It could be the health and safety guy. He wants to make sure that the guys are operating safer, and that's built into the design of our products. It could be the procurement manager who wants a simplified stock holding. It could be the reliability engineer who wants to make sure that the product lasts longer, that there's synchronized maintenance cycles. It could be finance who wants, they want a TOC, a total ownership cost saving. So all of the players in this market have different needs. And as we get close to them, have a strong presence on the ground and at head office as well, and we try and listen to our customers and understand, where are these problems? Where are these industry problems relating to slurry pumps? And they've been around, as you mentioned, for a very long time. There's been very little innovation until fairly recently in that space. And so as we listen to them, we then take it into our R&D office and we identify the problem and we say, right, how can we fix this in the most cost-effective way for our customers? And the Black Widow umbrella of technology, we believe, achieves that really, really well. There's no modification, no training, there's no capital cost. And that really solves the problem that we came across, where these non-problematic slurry pumps that were operating in our customers' plants, that weren't creating massive headaches for them, but just weren't achieving what they could. And that's where Black Widow comes in, where we're saying this is new technology for your old technology. And in that sense, more really is possible.
Well, we're going to leave it there, Sean, and let's bring in James and let's unpack the technology a little bit more.
Introducing the Curve Black Widow. This is not a new slurry pump. These are high-performance kits for your current slurry pump. It's new tech for your old tech. Purchasing a Black Widow high-performance kit is similar to upgrading the performance of a motor vehicle to achieve better fuel efficiency, power, or improved off-road performance. With BW HPKs, you can now buy upgrade kits that will improve the performance of your old slurry pump. The next time you perform routine maintenance, choose a kit that works best for you. Black Widow offers the following 3 high-performance kits that you can install in your old slurry pump. Need longer life? Select HPK1. Need more flow? Higher head and even more power saving? Select HPK1 Plus. Need a better sealing arrangement? Select HPK2. Do not accept the performance of your outdated slurry pump. Curve Black Widow. More is possible.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into part 2 of this episode with Pump and Abrasion Technologies. James Pinaire, he is the global product specialist. James, good to have you on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Let's just, we've already done the kind of the general company scope with Sean. Can you talk about just sort of your day-to-day role within the company?
Yeah, so currently I'm a product specialist globally. That's to ensure that obviously the guys working in pump and abrasion that goes out to the client sites fully understands what we have to offer our clients, and that the clients can get the message that we want to add value on their sites. So I look at specifically training up the guys in the products that we have, and obviously also how we want to apply them.
So in our conversation with Sean, we sort of touched on the, the innovative nature of pump and abrasion, but we didn't really dig into the specifics. So can you sort of walk us through? I'm seeing, I saw on your website, on LinkedIn, the Curve Black Widow, and I wanted you to just sort of unpack the technology for the audience to understand why it stands out, why it was in demand for the mining industry, and just sort of go through that.
So Pump and Abrasion's got a couple of product ranges that they offer to their clients to add value. And the one thing that we've seen is that specifically in high wearing applications for their slurry pumps, they're really looking for an answer. So for that, we've got the normal curve range, but we've also established that on the low wearing applications or the non-problematic ones, which makes out roughly about 80% of the plant's populations, guys do not tend to look at that specifically as where there can be massive improvements. Obviously, due to the length of time that these pumps run before they need to overhaul them. And this is where the Curve Black Widow came about. We saw a gap in that section of the market, is to be able to upgrade these non-problematic and low-wearing pumps to also add value to the client site by reducing total cost of ownership, better sealing, etc. So Curve Black Widow was introduced specifically for that, and we wanted to make sure that we could achieve that by some of the features are zero additional training required, zero additional capital cost from your current pumps, and to introduce that technology on those low wearers to be able to benefit.
So okay, so like when you talk about the sealing, is that
Yep.
and I mean it's a little bit of a layman question for me, but
Yep.
is it some sort of patented sealing technology that's making it just more efficient, or can you kind of unpack that for us a little bit?
Yeah, so the Curve Black Widow falls in an umbrella of technologies, okay, and it's high performance kits. That's how it's packaged. So we've got 3 kits currently available for the Curve Black Widow. First one is the HPK1. The second is HPK1 Plus. So for HPK1, it's actually a patented axial seal that we've introduced. That is in between the throat push and the impeller. And that is to ensure that we take away the low pressure zone where the recirculation occurs. Now, recirculation is one of the main benefactors or contributors, to high wearing applications. So HPK1 with that patented axial seal reduces the recirculation. HPK 1 Plus actually gives you the opportunity to run the pump slower than what your current pump's running. That equates to a lot longer life as well.
Right.
And then HPK 2 on the sealing is where we've done an enormous upgrade on material that's used for the sealing arrangement. One of the funny things in the slurry pump industry is the fact that you've got these pumps that are designed to handle these abrasive applications, but once you get to the sealing part of it, it's just so inferior, and guys really struggle maintaining that seal. Sometimes you need to overhaul the pump just to replace the seal, which is really time consuming and doesn't make sense.
So okay, so if those pumps land on site and they go into operation, now the ceiling is, so I'm thinking downtime. Is that sort of the first benefit are they seeing, or are they seeing what would be the initial benefit they'll see once it's operating on their site?
So the first thing that will happen is you will see a reduction in your power usage. I think that is a very important thing. I mean, everybody's looking at becoming zero emission or lower emissions. And that is actually one of our 6 pillars in the company is to supply impact reducing products.
Right.
So the first thing that you will see is a drop in your power usage. I think in South Africa, the number is 15% of total power supply is done by pumps in South Africa.
Wow.
Well, is used by pumps in the industry. So reducing that by 6 to 8% makes a massive difference. So that is the first thing that the client will see. Secondly, I think it's a good looking product. So that will definitely add as well. But then the reduction in total cost of ownership, just in terms of spare supply, because you now get a pump that's going to last a lot longer. Okay. And then Pump and Abrasion's ability to supply all of these spares 24/7 reduces your capital stock holding. So that is the first 3 things that I think a client will get to know about Pump and Abrasion when it's on site. Then for the sealing side of things, once a pump starts leaking, it goes back onto the bearing assembly unit. That fails prematurely. Not only that, the spillage on the floor needs to get washed away. That goes into a sump pump that needs to get pumped away again. So it's just about reducing that downstream effect.
Yeah, and now, so I wanted to do that technical side, but then I wondered if you could tie that into the service side, because Sean brought that up. A lot of what he was talking about is just the importance of that service. So have you had sort of anything, that comes to mind that stands out to you where you sort of got to deliver the product and deliver the service all at the same time, personally?
Yeah, we actually had a site in Tanzania. It was the first meeting we had with a specific client. And one of the requests were that we needed to be able to ship a pump within the next 5 days to site. Otherwise, they are not interested. And because they've got a very big problem with the current application. Now, to do that by road freight and normal transport is basically impossible. So what we've done is we booked the first ticket out back to South Africa, loaded that specific pump on the back of my own personal vehicle. We crossed 5 borders for a total of 4,600 kilometers, which I think is roughly about 3,000 miles, to be able to deliver that pump on the 4th day. The installation was a great success. We managed to actually help the client quite a lot. We increased their uptime from where they were down every 6 days to only repairing that pump every 50th day. So that was a massive improvement. So I think that's one of the things that really stood out to me, because as you understand, Africa is, it's quite intricate. So to get across those five borders and 3 main rivers is really something.
Yeah, actually, probably for me and a lot of the audience listening, probably context of that, if you said drive across, 3 provincial borders in Canada, that's just, you're probably just seeing a lot of wheat. Actually, could you give us a little bit of context, like a trip like that? When you're talking borders, you're talking country borders, right?
Yeah, it's country borders. So the first one is the Botswana border. Then we go through Zimbabwe. From Zimbabwe, you go over Malawi. From Malawi, you go over into Tanzania at the bottom. On those border crossings, you take a couple of ferries. When you're in Tanzania, you also take a ferry over Lake Victoria. So we basically went from the southern point up into Central Africa. One of the nice things, though, were the fact that we actually got to see Kilimanjaro and the Serengeti at the same time
Oh, wow.
of delivering that pump. So that was really something special.
So so talk us a little bit, again, a lot of us here listening, I know this is a little bit of a side note, but these are our first episodes in South Africa. So can you talk us through, like, what sort of landscape are you going to cover? So how many, you say 4,000 kilometers that you drove?
Yeah, it's a total of 4,600 kilometers. So South Africa typically is what we call bushveld. It's Kruger National Park. It's a very good example of what South Africa's landscape is, and that goes all the way up into Zimbabwe. And then it really starts to change where you get closer to the equator. So it becomes a lot more dense, a lot more bush, and the roads also deteriorate the further you go up. So that becomes a little bit tricky in navigating that drive all the way. And then, of course, it's not very common for guys driving with their vehicles with products on the back to cross those borders. So that in itself takes a little bit of time as well.
Yeah, I imagine so. In toward the transport, so it's not like here we'd have like the Trans-Canada Highway. So this is not an interconnected main through highway sort of. It sort of changes as you go from country to country, reaching your destination.
Yeah, and then you have to learn a couple of keywords in the local languages. So
Right.
you have to find out how to ask for directions in Swahili, just to make sure that you are able to get to the mine when you have to take these back roads.
Right.
Yeah, so that was quite interesting.
And then the big question is, did they buy more pumps after all this?
Yes, we got a massive project actually with them. We did the whole CIP plant. And subsequently, they did another upgrade about 7 years later, which we also just supplied now in 2018. And it's been a long-standing customer for us. I think that is one of the biggest values for Pump and Abrasion Technologies is the fact that the clients that we've had over this period in the last 14 years, 16 years, have all stayed with us. So we haven't lost clients along the way. We've actually just gained. And it's really because of the way that we treat our clients. Nothing's too much. I think one of the great things that the guys are doing currently in Canada as well is that assistance on site continuously, making sure that we're always with the client and adding value to what they do.
We just spent some time on the locals, sort of localized side of it of where you're based. Can you sort of paint us a picture of expanding the global market and your global footprint? But also, are there any, in that context, are there any industries or sub-industries, like lithium, that sort of thing? Obviously, that's a hot topic. We've done a few episodes about that. Are you expanding into those types of markets and just general expansion around the globe?
Okay, so the first offices outside of South Africa was done in Australia. So currently we're situated in Perth in Australia. And that was also where the first curve pump was installed. In Australia was in Kalgoorlie in 2017, and that was in the lithium industry. Now, the lithium industry in Australia is renowned for the abrasive applications that they have, and we've managed to get a client from 350 hours to 1,000 hours, which is a significant improvement. So we've expanded quite dramatically in the lithium market in Australia, but now also have taken on the gold industry and also moving on to the East Coast. So from there on, we moved to Canada, to Sudbury, Ontario, and then also opened up in Tucson, Arizona now. So currently we're expanding into that area, and then the following one that we're busy with now is South America, which is they have a really healthy mining environment. So we really want to get involved in South America, and then also for Africa. It's becoming a prerequisite to be based in certain countries. So we also opening up offices into different countries into Africa. So the expansion for Pump and Abrasion has come on quite fast. And we want to continue this upward trajectory.
How do you balance, just as sort of we're closing off this interview, how do you balance, because you're one of those companies that has taken an industry or a subsector of the industry and challenged it, improve and actually put in real tangible improvements. How do you now balance as you scale up? Of course, now you need systems, reliability, global standards, and your customers need to sort of know exactly what they're getting. You have all of that that comes as you grow, but sort of where you made your bones is also being innovative. How do you sort of find that balance as a team and as an individual as well?
So, three words that's in Pump Abrasion that's of very high importance is easy, cost effective, and reliable. So if we keep to those three values, that is how we are going to continuously grow this company. Easy, must be easy to deal with us, mustn't be a difficult process. Reliable, always be able to know that we will be on site if there's an issue, that the products that we do supply to you is reliable. And then the cost effective side, that is really for us in terms of adding value. So as long as we provide products that's going to add value to our client's site, I feel that we're going to be in good state for years to come. It's actually shocking to think that for the last 50 years in this slurry pump industry, how minimal has happened. And, technology has moved so fast, but in the mining industry, we are still very archaic, reluctant to change. But there is very big opportunity to ensure that mines can run more efficiently.
Where is the company looking to grow now? What is sort of the next levels of innovation that you're looking? I mean, obviously you're not going to give us all the secret sauce, but just are there a couple specific areas that you sort of foresee either the expansion or the innovation taking place?
I know a lot of companies has branched out into different types of products, that goes out of a certain sector. So let's say we will have a pump industry, then moving into different sectors like mill crushers, etc. We want to make sure that we focus on pump systems. So we want to grow our expertise in that and remain true to what we have to offer. Pump and Abrasion is a pump company, and we're going to continue to grow the slurry pump space. So all of the innovation will be on that space.
And I want to just touch the lithium space. Has that become sort of a key area, or is it starting to look like a key area? I mean, I know in like places like Canada, which you said you had an office now. I mean, that's becoming provinces like Ontario. They're going to get these lithium mines on from everything that I can see, from sort of every level, from companies to government and local acceptance. All of that seems to be going the right direction. So is that going to become a pretty major space for you? Do you foresee?
Definitely something that we want to target. Industries tend to be quite small, actually, even though mining is, very big globally. But in the lithium industry, we're on a very good space in terms of word of mouth from what we've achieved in Australia. So for the industry that's opening up currently in Canada, we know about a couple of projects coming up there. That is definitely one of our main focus points, just because of the successes that we have achieved in that specific lithium space in Australia.
Right. Well, I think we've got a couple more episodes coming up with you here in the next several months. So it's going to be fun to sort of expand on. We've sort of touched on these different topics and then expand on them in the later episodes. So, yeah, thanks a lot, James, for coming on. You and Sean, and I appreciate it. This is our first episodes from South Africa at an event like this. So, yeah, we very much appreciate it and hope to get you back on soon.
Thank you. Really appreciate you, and thanks for having us and giving us the opportunity, to introduce ourselves.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Lots of good topics covered. We are going to be doing more episodes here over the next couple, I was going to say days, but these are more like nights for us. Thank you, Gowdy, for working through the night to help us to produce them, and Dennis for being all over the floor, keeping everything running smoothly. And, of course, thanks to Pumps and Abrasion for joining us for the episode. And a final thank you to our travel sponsor, Savinaw Equipment, for making sure we get there. We will see you on the next, and thank you to you for watching, of course. Wow. We will see you on the next episode of Mining Now.